That was such a good meal. I just ate and this happened? What happened to my flat stomach? What the? Hello beautiful minds, welcome to my channel. I am Saika and today I'd like to share to you guys my thoughts on my bodily insecurities now that I've lost the weight. So for the past year up until now, I've lost 45 pounds or 20 kilograms and I'm currently maintaining at 110 pounds or 50 kilograms. Due to my relatively massive weight loss, at least for me, and being fat most of my life, now that I've lost the weight and seen myself in a thinner body for the first time, there's still quite a few things that I'm insecure about in my new body. So for today, I'm going to be actually showing you guys those insecurities because why not? And I'll be sharing to you guys how I felt about them initially and how I feel about them now. So this is another shameless video, I guess. Without further ado, let's get into it. Understandably, at the start, I struggled with a lot of these new bodily insecurities. So the first is loose skin or a bit of body fat here and there. One of which is my loose skin by my arms, essentially my bat wings, if you guys can see it. Yep, bat wings. And a bit of my lower belly fat, which I'll probably show you guys somewhere in this video. It's not really that noticeable, but once I go to our home gym and start exercising and working out, I can really see my bat wings flapping here and there. And then for my lower belly fat, I see it rolling and just forming folds. So it kind of annoys me because I think it's not what I initially expected. So yeah, it bothers me and it makes me want to lose more weight even though technically I'm already at my maintenance weight. So I should just build more muscle, I guess. It's still relatively tight, but I just want it to be even less loose. However, my insecurity with my bat wings and my lower belly fat is quite short-lived. For the most part, I know that they're correctable, especially if I just do the right exercises. For example, I should lift more weights or maybe do more arm exercises. As for my lower belly, I could change up my diet, again, do more abs exercises and the like. I also know that they're quite normal or already quite small. A lot of people actually comment on my arms that they're already small or even too small. So there's that. I know they're okay. They're not that noticeable anyway. It's not like super droopy or super hanging anyway. As for my belly, it's quite normal to have a lower tummy because that's where my organs are stored. It's a normal part of the body and it's just the influence coming from the media and social media influencers that muddle my mind into thinking that my lower tummy should absolutely be flat. So it's quite normal. I see a lot of girls have it. Everyone has it. So yeah, it didn't really bother me after a while once I started getting used to it. And I actually quite appreciate it. I like it. It doesn't really bother me as much anymore. Although we can still work on that, but it's not something that I would say is such a huge insecurity compared to how I initially started to think of it at the start. Second is bloating. So this isn't really a specific body part, it's more of like a phenomenon that happens once I finish eating a meal. Okay, you guys, so I never knew about bloating until I lost the weight. You have to understand when you're fat, you just don't experience bloating because first of all, you're already bloated because you have a really big tummy. And you know, I've never seen myself as bloated because I'm just fat. I'm pretty bloated every single day, every single minute, every single second when I was fat. And I don't feel bloated because I never see my tummy get bigger because it's already big. So if it did get bigger after I ate, it's unnoticeable. So I never knew what bloating was because I never felt it happen to me up until I lost the weight. Once I lost the weight, and I would bloat, or my tummy would swell. Basically, every time after you eat, your tummy swells because of course it needs space for the food to go into and to digest and yada yada yada. So obviously it swells. And once I lost the weight and bloated every after meal, it was both fascinating and scary at the same time. It was fascinating in the sense that I've never experienced this phenomenon. Like, what the hell? I would keep looking at myself in the mirror like, oh my goodness, look at that tummy change. And it was scary because it made me insecure, because it made me feel that I got fatter again, that I just gained everything that I lost because my tummy would momentarily bulge. So it reminded me of my fat self in a way, I think. And I would honestly get scared to eat more. So I would eat less, but it would still bloat anyway. So yeah, I had that struggle of fascination at the same time, feeling terrified that in the mornings my tummy would look so flat, and by lunch or dinner it would bulge. So it definitely scared me, or sort of disoriented me, because it's something that has never happened to me before. But once again, once I realized that it's a normal bodily process, you know, you swell because again it needs to accommodate the food in your body and it needs time to digest, and after a few hours it pretty much goes back to your normal tummy. Not as tight or as small as when you woke up, but it still goes back to a smaller tummy, not the bulge that you get after eating. It's pretty normal. It happens to everyone. It's a normal bodily process, and therefore I shouldn't be insecure about it. And I was just overthinking it and probably was getting used to what bloating was like. Yeah, so definitely got over it relatively quick. Now I actually like looking at my bloated tummy because it makes me feel like I'm pregnant. I sort of pretend that I'm pregnant, and then I look at myself and say, oh, this is what you look like if you're pregnant, and I would play pretend and the like. So I just laugh about it or joke about it now. It's really not a big of an issue. I think at the start it was just mystical to me because I've never experienced this phenomenon up until I lost the weight. So there you have it. Number 3. Now this is my biggest insecurity, and up until now I'm still quite insecure about it. My stretch marks. Back when I was fat, my tummy was definitely the one that stored most of my fat. It was the biggest part of my body. And by then, I already had stretch marks by my lower tummy, and they were quite darker. I really hope that once I started losing the weight, it would fade away. But obviously that didn't happen. Now that I've lost the weight, it's still there, but it's relatively lighter. And I'm going to be showing that to you guys. The only reason why I'm showing this part of myself that I'm very insecure and shy about is because I know that a lot of people have the same thing, especially girls and women. And I just want to tell you that it's normal. Everyone has it. And if I could help appease that insecurity inside of you, then that's good enough for me. You got this, girl. It's fine. It's okay. Anyways, at the start, I hated my stretch marks. I was absolutely horrified and ashamed of them, to the point that I couldn't even tell my closest sister about them. I was that ashamed of it. For me, they represented my past fat self, who willingly chose her body to deteriorate and carry all of the bad choices that she was making. It was a reminder of my poor choices and what I let my body go through because of those poor choices. It was a constant reminder of this past self that I could never fully erase. It was sort of like the scar of it. Couple that with the beauty standards of our society and how girls and women my age usually have smooth bellies and the like, it just made it all the more starker how much of an ugly scar or stain it was on my body. I felt absolutely frustrated because I felt like I couldn't achieve the body that I truly wanted for myself, because they are very visible and quite dead center in my body. They're literally in my lower tummy, so if I took off my shirt or wore a bikini, then you could definitely see them. So there was definitely a lot of anger and shame when it came to my stretch marks. I didn't know when it started to shift for me, but once I told my sister about it, and she just shrugged and said it was completely normal and she also had it, instead of laughing or ridiculing me. By the way, my sister is not like that. It's just my negative thoughts getting the best of me. I felt so relieved, but at the same time felt so connected to her as well. And it made me rethink of my stretch marks. Because for her, her stretch marks were a part of her journey. Her cellulite was normal, she accepted it. It was a part of who she was, and she never saw it as something shameful. And it gave me a different perspective of my own stretch marks as well. It made me realize that it's part of the process and that any body, and I mean any body, can have it. No matter what age, no matter what gender, we will all have it at some point in our lives. Instead of being this stain on my body, it became a reminder of my past self that in hindsight, I'm still quite proud of and don't want to totally forget because I'm more than my fat body, and a reminder of where I'll never want to go back to again, especially mentally. It was a badge of honor to wear these scars because I've come so far to get to where I am now. My perspective shifted to seeing it as my battle scars, and throughout all the hardships, the blood, sweat, and tears, I've won the battle and went past my toxic mindset. It's part of who I am and a testament of my struggles and how far I've come from there, and I don't ever want to forget that. Losing weight hadn't really lessened my bodily insecurities. They just shifted. Even until now, I still deal with a lot of my bodily insecurities, and I'm just taking it one step at a time. It took me a few months to get used to my new body, especially get used to the parts that I couldn't necessarily change. Still, I'm so proud of how far I've come, and I wouldn't exchange it for the world. I wouldn't exchange my stretch marks, my bit of flab here and there for my past mindset and mentality. I like and love how I look now, how I've transformed, and how drastically I've changed mentally, emotionally, physically, and just spiritually. Holistically, everything. That's why you shouldn't be scared to lose the weight if you think you'll end up having stretch marks or loose skin and whatnot. These are all parts of the process. It depends on you on what you do with them, but I guarantee you it's 1,000 times better to deal with these, in hindsight, minor issues than to be stuck in a state where you truly know deep down you're not satisfied with. If you're okay with where you're at, then great. That's good. But if you want to push further, do it. The rewards and the quality of life you'll get is immeasurable compared to the bit of insecurities you'll get here and there. If I could do it, so can you. That's it for today's video. Thank you so much guys for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and do comment your stories down below, and let's start a conversation. Thank you so much guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Babush!